Okay, should be good to go. Hopefully. Yeah. No, okay. I think we're good. Serious no, yeah, should be good. Okay. I guess we'll get this started. All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to. Um, I do I even have a title for this? I don't remember. Um, but yeah, it's gonna be another discussion episode of Genshin Impact. Basically, today, um, they just released this special program for the upcoming Snezhnaya update, happening August 12th. Obviously, right? We gotta talk about it. My first impressions of the thing, and basically kind of recap everything. Like I said, like how I usually do these now. I mean, like I think we've done this for like at least 5 of these now, starting with the Varka one, all the way leading up to this one. So it's still kind of a hit or miss. I have no idea how this is gonna go, but bear with me. It is a long one today, since like the presentation was basically an hour, or at least an hour. There was so much to go about. And of course, I have everything written down here on my little fucking phone over here. All the notes, fucking looking like a fucking presentation, like a fucking PowerPoint or some shit. Um, but yeah, uh, yeah. Basically, this update is like stupid huge. Like, obviously, right? This is like new nation. It's like I know we didn't do it for Not Cry, but like obviously this is like the same thing. This is like the biggest like update since. There's gonna be a bunch of new shit, like a bunch of like new nation, new characters, new storyline, new everything basically. So um I'm gonna basically try to recap everything. I know I'm saying a lot that's basically uh redundant and repetitive, but you know, I'm still trying to work on through this. Again, this would have been a lot easier, honestly, if what do you call it? This would have been a lot easier if we were able to like do a live stream of like just my reaction for it, or at least like watch the like the video again on the presentation. But obviously, right, since our only means of streaming slash recording is through the native Xbox console, it's highly impossible. um so this is why we're doing it like this. But I mean, again, this, at least for me, this is like kind of like good practice to kind of like talk about, like, you know, like, or at least do these sort of type of things where just kind of like talking about whatever in general, basically just trying to improve, like, I guess like social skills or whatever. But you know, but anyways, let's just go ahead and get this started. So obviously, right, you always start off with the trailer. And the trailer, I'm already getting like fucking chills, goosebumps, everything, man. Cause at the very beginning, right, and they teased this in the, like, their little teaser, like, trailer when they did the Sony Summer Fontanalia event happened. They showed off like kind of like the upcoming Snezhnaya like trailer, or like the update um at the very end. And they kind of like started with that, because at the very beginning it was what was it? Oh, so like no, in the beginning on that one, it was Paimon just kind of like being very sickly, and then Ether very concerned for her. Here it's like, okay, um, Ether is actually kind of very concerned for Paimon. Like he is like just like he's like wondering where she's at, like because he know at that point I'm assuming like he knows that she's sick and he needs to find her. But yeah, like it starts off with that, and then we see like glimpses of Snezhnaya. Mostly I think it's like Snezhnograd, and obviously right, Snezhnaya just looks fucking beautiful. It looks all like the landscapes, all the landmarks, the areas, they look phenomenal. Like this is like a very fucking like they put like a bunch of effort into making this fucking map. Like it's probably like one of the most beautiful ones out there, at least from what at least compared to like the other ones, right? Like dude, I don't know how to fucking say it, but yeah, it's just beautiful. Like you're probably gonna hear me say that a lot because in my notes I fucking basically did that for a lot of these things. So trust me, you're gonna hear that numerous times throughout this whole fucking discussion. And then they showed off. God, you know what's crazy? Even though I took like notes for the I took notes for like the for the discussion, it's still like I still have like memory lapses of like what the actual thing happened, because I'm like I wrote here oh obviously right, they showed off the Sarisa and like they showed off like the struggles that like Snezhnaya has been going through, obviously right, with the project Snezhnaya and like the whole thing with like there's conflict in the nation itself, like between itself, obviously right, for like the harsh conditions, like, and it's like kind of like it's been getting worse. And then after that they showed a little bit of like the new characters that are going to be coming for this update specifically. We have O'Day. Oh, I say O'Day. I don't know if it's Odette. But I say O'Day. Like we take a glimpse look at her. Basically, she's gonna be our cryo sword user. She's our She's a 5-star. And then we also have Alyosha. I don't know how to pronounce his name, so I'm gonna say this once. I'm gonna apologize in advance if I have a lot of these names mispronounced, because even though we've heard the names throughout the trailer, throughout the presentation so many times, again, I think it was just a lot to take in. So I do apologize if I botch the names, but hopefully you guys will understand who I'm talking about when it comes to those. But yeah, going back to the character, Alyosha, we took a quick glimpse of him. Basically, he's gonna be a 4-star electro polearm user. So that's good. And then we get to the probably one of the most intriguing parts. Obviously, right? In the teaser trailer, they showed off the new game mode, or the game play style, which is third-person shooter. But the way they described it was it's like its own like dimension, which they called it the Shadow Realm. And my first immediate reaction, I was like, oh my god, we're fucking in Yu-Gi-Oh bullshit right now with this fucking Shadow Realm. I'm like, are we gonna fucking find like some duelists or some shit? But I know it's like fucking stupid, because that's like, as a kid, the Shadow Realm was basically just like a term that we use in Yu-Gi-Oh! For like, you know, like, cause it's like it's supposed to be a kid's dub for like the Shadow games, but you know, it's the way they dubbed it. It's just fucking funny, but it stuck with us to like since childhood. So I just find it funny that they called it the Shadow Realm in this game. I'm like, oh god, so fucking stupid. Alright, I had to take a swig. Fucking holy shit. And then they showed off like the two. I think it's supposed to be like the two overworld bosses. And that one I'm not kind of sure because like I'll explain it in a bit later when it gets to that point. But yeah, they showed off those. And then they keep mentioning like how Paimon is very sick because like we see her like on a little like makeshift bed, like just like very just which is rare. Like we rarely see Paimon. Well, no, we do see Paimon sleep, but like in the harsh conditions that we're in, that is Snezhnaya, like she looks very like it looked like she was about to fucking die. So there is that, and then it cuts to what I believe, which I don't know why the fuck I thought this. Like it looked like it was like the United Nations version of Snezhnaya because like the whole layout, it looked like the fucking, it looked like the way you would see it like when you like what do you call it, it looked like the United Nations, you know, like when you see like in cartoons or like in shows like that show off like some sort of a resemblance to like the United Nations. It's basically what it looks like. And it was like a debut. It was a debate between basically all the Harbingers and like some of the other representatives of Snezhnaya, because we see Pantalone and Tartaglia argue with each other, and then it's not Piero, fucking I don't remember his actual name, but the alias they gave him like is the Rooster. Like he's also there. But yeah, they were basically discussing like the whole thing with Project Studia and like how like they're running out of like resources and shit, and like how it's harming the lives of like of the people of Snezhnaya, which I think upsets like Tartaglia, obviously, right? Because you know this is his homeland and he cares more about the people. But I think it's like a theory where it was like he might turn in a sense, but that's like a theory for like later down the line. I'm pretty sure we'll find that like when we get to like the actual to the event. And then they show off more 5-star characters, obviously, right? Like we see Vesna and Danica like doing like the whole march, I think, what was it, or like the like welcome home parade basically. And then it cuts back to like the Traveler again, or Ether. And then they're like now it's like they're extremely like scared, like concerned, like, because I think at that point it's like, at least what it looked like in the trailer, right? It looked like Paimon was not even there anymore. Like I think she's just like isolated from the Traveler, and he's trying to find her at this point. That's why he's just very concerned. He's like kind of like not like in his usual state where he's like kind of like calm and collective. And then after that, it cuts to probably what I did not expect this early on, which I know they showed it off in the teaser trailer, which is like a very big moment because it looks like it's like probably like one of the most epic battles we'll probably see in the upcoming like few updates. But Renova appears. Like Renova appears in front of Ether. And like I mean also Piero's there as well. But like it's like kind of like one of those like indirectings. Like cuz he basically was like he's asking Renova like the question of like why are you doing this, or like why are you here? But like I think it's like more directly towards like Ether, because like the next scene that happens, she warns Ether about like trying to interfere with her plans and whatnot, like it's happened before, and like there won't be a next time. Like and there like she warns him like, if you do this next time, I will like do something about it. And then like Ether fucking he's like, there won't be a next time, and he fucking just like charges at fucking Renova and fucking fights her. And then during that whole thing, like there's a couple more characters and a couple more scenes that like appear, like Vadia Nitsa like appearing, and then like O'Day like kind of like falling, and like everyone's like kind of like in a fallen state. And then as Ether fights Renova, we see Paimon in like in a room somewhere, and she notices and then just shoots a fucking beam towards Paimon, and Ether fucking going at like towards Paimon, cause he knows she's like about to get fucked up like immediately. And I was like, at that point I was like, I actually got scared for Paimon, because I was like, oh my god dude, this is no fucking way this is gonna happen. Like nothing ever happens, nothing ever truly bad happens in Genshin Impact. But this feels like it could be like a giant bitch ass moment, like it's actually like super tragic, because it actually concerns like one of the most like reoccurring characters of all time, which is fucking Paimon. And that honestly that scared me a lot. And then before the trailer ends, fucking the Sarisa arrives, fucking just marching towards her throne, like fucking like she's aura farming. And then she sits there alongside Vesna and Danica, and just gives like the fucking like the speech or whatever. And then that's when the trailer ends, and I was like, holy fucking shit, man, this is gonna be a fucking crazy ass fucking update of all time. Oh my goodness. But yeah, that ends the trailer, and then they do the actual the commentary, like the presentation. And this time around, the devs actually do the commentary this time. And I'm assuming they do this rarely. I know the last one that they did, at least aside from like the one that was like the behind the scenes, because that wasn't really like a special program like their usual ones. The last one I remember was when they did Columbina, because that was like a very special one, right? Like that's like their I guess like I don't know if you can say like their second child, but like they really treat her like if they were her own kid. So that's why she got like that special treatment from like the devs doing the commentary. So considering that this is like a fucking big ass fucking like new nation type of update, yeah, they definitely took the mantle for this one, and not had like any other like voice actors doing characters do the commentary, so it makes sense. Let's see. And then as they were talking, I noticed like a few important pieces like on like for their set. So obviously, right in the middle, they had like the Gnosis chess pieces, right? Like exactly the way they showed it in the Transcendence trailer. Um, they had it like that with like the only two, like with all the Gnosis set up the way it was, like the Electro and Dendro Archon like separated, the Hydro and Animo fallen, the Pyro missing, and then the only two standing ones are the Geo and the Cryo Gnosis. Um, and then like the big ass fucking like piece in the middle was basically like the Pulsar field, because obviously, right, it's a new nation and they're gonna want to like advertise the new uh, reaction. So that's what they literally did for the set piece. Um, and then they talked about what was it? They talked about Snezhnaya always being mentioned throughout the game, because basically, right, at least for like the 6+ years that they since the game's launch, they've always mentioned Snezhnaya like one way or another, like through like the NPCs, like the Fatui NPCs at the beginning, like near like teleporters, Child or Tatalia mentioning it, any other Fatui Harbinger as well mentioning it. But yeah, they've been teasing like Snezhnaya throughout like this whole time, and then they finally, like, they're like, oh man, like we're finally here. Basically, that's how they like went through it. Oh yeah, and then they really were like, yo, so Renova is actually wanting Paimon fucking dead. Like they really were like, yo, like I'm like, even the devs were like, yo, I'm actually scared for Paimon. What's gonna happen to her? like I feel like it's going to lead up to a bit where it might just happen, but not really. Like obviously, right? Because like nothing ever bad happens in Genshin Impact, so it's like whatever. But yeah. Let's see. Where is the next one? Oh, and then they were talking about like how travelers will get to Snezhnaya. Basically, it'll start where the boss fight for Dottore is. Not the recent one, but like the Noctri one. Like, cause they mentioned how like Dottore built like a lab like northeast of Noctri, and that's basically like the borderline between Noctri and Snezhnaya. So that's where everything's gonna start. And then they described basically what Snezhnaya is as a nation. So I know I didn't write it down here, but I mean that's like basically what this next bullet point was like mentioning on here. So they gave like a brief history of like what Snezhnaya is. So basically, Snezhnaya is a nation where it's fighting against fate, or like they're not going against the way of the world. Mostly this is like directly towards the heavenly principles, because obviously it's been teased throughout like I think Noctri as well, and through like some of the other harbingers. The Tsaritsa does not like fucking the heavenly principles, and I know they've kind of mentioned like the backstory of like why that is. I don't remember if I wrote it down here. I probably might have, but I mean I'll just explain it here. In the Transcendence trailer, I believe they mentioned it, where the Tsaritsa actually was with a previous descender, like known as like the third descender basically, and something happens that involves the heavenly principles. And basically the heavenly principles just turned the third descender into the Gnosis, from, if I remember correctly. They turned them into the Gnosis and basically scattered them out throughout Tibet. And that's basically the reason why the Sarisa is actually collecting all the Gnosis. So, I don't know if it's like, if she's trying to like bring them back to life, or if it's like something else entirely. But that's basically like a more in-depth reason of why she's doing it. We still don't know like a clear answer, but it's like, yeah, it definitely helps for sure. Okay, I know I've been going off a little bit off topic here. But let's continue on from where we were. Oh, so they described what Snezhnaya used to be. They mentioned how it used to be like more like, I guess I can fucking, if I have to describe it, this fucking season, which is summer, like it was like more of like more summer, like more like greenery and everything around. Like it wasn't like fucking like this cold dead ass like fucking like or like this, not like dead ass, but like this cold like harsh conditional weathering like type of like season. But the reason why they went back to wait, what was I saying? No, sorry. The reason why it looks the way it is now is because they wanted to provide countermeasures to go against fate, basically. Or like, I guess like not like fate, but like the way it was described, I believe it was like, if something ever happens to Snezhnaya, we want to prepare for the worst outcome possible. So they turn Snezhnaya into to like the way it is now through like to like basically counter like such conditions, right? Which makes sense. I get it, but that's still kind of fucked up in a sense, because that's like kind of like defying like nature itself. And then they said that the way they were actually still living throughout like this, despite the harsh weather, is because the previous czar, or the previous archon, which is the Burley, or I think it's the Bailey or the Burley. But yeah, like the Burley Czar, they used the minerals naturally found in the nation called the Kreshnik crystals, and they used those minerals and built a, well, they say torch. I think it's just a fucking furnace, honestly. I don't know why they called it a torch. It's obviously a fucking furnace. But yeah, they built that to use the crystals as fuel to keep Snezhnaya warm. Basically, that's how they've been living throughout their lives ever since. That does mention how well, quote unquote, impossible it is to traverse through Snezhnaya, because they showed in like I guess like an example, when the traveler tries to traverse through like the through like the whole area naturally, like just by like running and like walking. There's like a harsh wind that like blows him back, and that's what's making it very impossible to move around. I'm just going to assume that's just like in certain areas, like of like the map, because it wouldn't make sense if like there's like just like harsh winds everywhere, and it kind of shows that during like throughout this whole presentation, because it only happens once and that's it. So I don't know if they were just kind of like exaggerating, but I mean they just wanted to show. Okay, so it's kind of hard to traverse through the area. So we're basically going to introduce a new way to travel through certain areas using trains, basically, which is like one of the biggest like things that they all showed off like when it involves Snezhnaya. Like a bunch of trains like heading towards like stations and whatnot. But yeah. And then they showed off the main area of Snezhnaya, which is called Snezhnograd. And god damn, dude. Like, I know, like, again, I knew I was gonna say this, or I knew I was gonna say this again, but like, all the scenery, like they kept showing out through like all like the locations, especially Snezhnograd. It just looks fucking beautiful. Like, dude, I would totally like, despite the fucking like, if like that place actually existed in the real world, I don't give a shit if I have to like live through like the shittiest, coldest weather. I would still live there. I'm not gonna lie. This fucking place looks just fucking beautiful as fuck. It's so good. Let's see. Oh right, okay. I don't know why. Okay, so I don't know why I brought this, but so obviously, right? They showed off like the people there of Snezhnaya. They've introduced more types of people that are living in the area, such as furries. Yeah, I don't know why I wrote that here. Like, really, just like I can just like read it from here. Fucking shows off more furry-like race. I don't know why I wrote it like that. I didn't know if there was like a better way to describe it, but that's what the fuck I wrote. But yeah, basically, there's like more animal-like creatures, like animal-like bipedal creatures that live in Snezhnaya. So yeah, there's that. And I think I went a little bit into it more because they showed it off, or they had like a more, I guess, like visualized description of it in throughout like another part of the presentation. But yeah, they showed off like the main parts of like the city of Snezhnograd, like the what was it? Like the theater, like the dance theater that O'Day uses. What was it? The Northland Bank. What else? I believe it was also the train station, like the main like center train station. I believe there was like one more. I think it involves something with what the one of the other 5 stars, the Varyanitsa, sorry, the one that's like basically, well, the one that I would ideally describe her as, what was it, Columbina, but then she was a mermaid for some fucking reason, or you know, I could also say a green-haired Ariel, but I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah. Okay, and then the next thing that's on here. Oh, right. So they talked about. I know I mentioned it before, but they talked about basically how the third descender was basically a central piece of like Snezhnaya because um, it was the original place that brought upon like the new reaction, basically, like a new power or Snezhnaya, which is basically the new reaction, which is the stellar reaction. Here I think they called it stellar glimmer because that's basically a collective. Because obviously there's gonna be more than the one that we know of as of today, or as of before, which is stellar conduct. Um, which now that I said that, obviously just kind of like foretold what the new reaction will be. But we'll go into that a little bit because it's like literally coming from like the next few like bullet points. But yeah, so new gimmick or like new reaction, which is stellar, but as a collective, it's called stellar glimmer because there's gonna be more than one. Oh, and then they talked about how the traveler will immediately obtain the new element as soon as you get to the Statue of the Seven, which honestly feels so nostalgic at this point because what was it? When you go to Natland, that doesn't happen immediately because it's basically you have to earn it by going through like the trials and basically having your own name, which is too miney. And then that basically like allowed us to use the pyro element. And then ever since then, since Notcry isn't like really like a nation that has like its own elements, basically we've been stuck with pyro for like that whole duration, and just using like other like various like elements alongside like as a mix. But yeah, so it feels like sort of like a nostalgic bit and sort of like a refresher. Like one, obviously we finally get a new element, which is cryo, and then two, it actually happens immediately when we see the first Statue of the Seven. And then this is where they actually were like, okay, so even though all the new characters can use Stellar in their kit, the Traveler can now use it too. So basically, he is now an enabler of Stellar Reaction with his skill, which is very good because it's like, obviously, right? So now we don't have to, and this, oh, okay. Let me go back a bit. This is actually good because the problem with Notcry specifically, the only way to have any type of new reaction, which was the Luna reaction, in the game was basically you had to have a Notcry character in your party. At least one, I believe. And then obviously with Columbina being like the biggest reactor to like the lunar, like basically if you have Columbina in the party, anyone can any of the elemental users that have like Geo, Dendro, and Electro can use lunar reaction. But here now it's like, okay, we're going back a little bit. We're gonna have basically everybody be able to have this new reaction available to them. As long as like you have the now that the Traveler can use the skill to basically apply a stellar reaction, which is very good. Again, I like how they went back to that. It's very good. Um, and then during that whole bit that they were talking about like the traveler applying the skill, they showed off the new reaction like casually, which is basically Stellar Swirl, uh, the upgraded version of like a Nemo Swirl. Um, and then I also put down here like as a sub bullet point, uh, Mizuki now meta. And it's funny because yeah, obviously right, they showed Mizuki using her like they use Mizuki in like the party again. She's just doing like all the new stellar reaction, which is funny because again, when you look back and you're like, oh, all these characters, all these 7 characters had like these cool buffs, but why is Mizuki here? It makes no sense. She's not a cryo or electro user, so what gives? And now they basically were like, okay, this is the reason. This is the reason why she has this buff. So now, hopefully she'll be meta. I'm pretty sure, cause I know she's a standard character like Chi-Chi, and apparently Chi-Chi has been used as a meta piece now, cause like she actually beat. I believe when people made like a tier list for like all the characters that are like now viable in the meta, she actually beat Skirk, which is fucking crazy. So hopefully this will bump up Mizuki to. I don't think she'll be meta, in my opinion. But that's also fair because it's like I don't use Mizuki as much. I know her kit's actually not that bad, but it's like subpar compared to everybody else. That it's not worth kind of building her. So maybe now it's a good time to like build her now. So when she becomes like when the new update comes out, she'll be like stupid good. But yeah, don't worry. That's not what I've been doing. That's not what I've been doing off screen. Don't worry about it. But yeah, what do you call it? Let me see. Let's get back on track. Okay. Oh right. So, I guess no, actually, not going back on track. It is still on track. So obviously, right. Stellar Swirl is the new reaction. So basically what Stellar Swirl does, it creates like a small orb or like a vortex basically that deals cryo damage. Like it explodes and it deals like cryo damage. And it also stacks, so the more you use Stellar Swirl, the more like I think the bigger the vortex becomes, and it like does more damage. So that's actually not bad, because considering like that's just like good off-field damage basically. And then they showed off how like it can also be used as like a way to like traverse to stuff. Like for example, they showed off like how Ether was like gliding through the air, and then as soon as he like stepped on the vortex, like a giant burst of air like was released, and then he flew higher. So it's also good for traversing through like certain areas as well. And then that's basically the end of like the whole reaction. Oh, and then they talked about how when we enter, or like somewhere throughout the story of like Snezhnaya, I don't know when exactly they said, but like they said that we'll be getting a new 5-star weapon, a sword, like a sword weapon. I think they were mentioning this for like to be Ether's like signature weapon, because like I don't know if it's like that's the case, but it seems like that's like the bit they were going through. Um, which, by the way, it looks fucking great. Obviously, right? Any new weapon is like always welcome. Being a 5-star is very good because obviously, right? It shows it has potential. But they said like the new sword actually has like a weird catch to it, where it progresses or it becomes more powerful. The more statues of the 7 you unlock in Snezhnaya. So, like as soon as you unlock one, like I don't know how it will work. I'm assuming its stats will go up like a little bit, like bit by bit. But we'll see. Like they didn't really explain it. The only thing that they explained though is that this thing has lore. Like this has like a story. This thing has its own storyline, supposedly. And like the more statues you unlock, the more like secrets like will be revealed to us. Because it has like this little like fucking like what was it? This little like fucking like graph showing like, oh okay, so this happens and then this happens and just how you unlock it, basically. So I want to see. I just want to see how that looks and see like if it's gonna be good enough as like a weapon. Since it's gonna be for free, right? Because obviously, right, free weapon does have its catches and uses or like its restrictions. So we'll see. Okay, and then the devs talked about or like teased about Sarisa and her connections with basically the Archons and the Heavenly Principles. And then I wrote down here. Oh, and then the reason why she's I guess like they explained like one of her goals, basically. So she wants to create an ideal world that goes against the Heavenly Principles, and she's trying to avoid the fate of Snezhnaya being like Conria and Hyperborea. Obviously, right? Like we've already seen what happened between those two nations alone, so she's trying to avoid that. Oh, and then okay, so out of fucking nowhere, right? One of the devs just randomly shadow dropped what I think might be like an important part of the lore that no one expected, and they just moved on from it. So the thing I'm talking about is that apparently Conrians are descendants to Sarisa. Like, what? Like, how the fuck? Which, I mean, I guess it makes sense why she cares heavily about, you know, about Conria, like, as a nation in a whole, and why she's trying to avoid Snezhnaya going through that whole fate, like similar to it. But it also kind of gives reason why, like, she has she has like the connections like to the people of like to the descendants, I don't know, to the descendants of like Conria, right? Or like the inhabitants of like the people of Conria, like Capitano, Kaya, Dainsleif, Bucket, and I think even Piero, right? But yeah, like it's just like a random important piece of like trivia, and it was like, what the fuck? There's no fucking way. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see, because apparently they're gonna be talking about it in the quest, so, or like in the story. So I'm gonna have to keep my fucking ears open on that. And then they go on about how I already mentioned it before. But yeah, they basically go into detail how like Project Stuja has been going is turning for the worse, where um, like it's worsening the lifestyle of all the people who live in Snezhnaya, how the resources are going dry, and how they might like how it might like be a catalyst to like basically the nation. Um, and then they talked about how despite all of this happening, the Saritsa's not even in her nation right now, like in Shesnagrad. She's actually away fighting the threat that's actually responsible for the catastrophe, as they said, or like the threat that brought them to this point in time. So yeah, that was basically most of that. And then let me see. Oh, okay. They were still going on. They're still going on with the first half. Okay, yeah. So yeah, this is still like part of like, goddamn. Like I said, this is long. This is like a very long fucking presentation. So, bear with me, because they haven't got at this point in time. They haven't gone through the second break, so they continued forward. They showed off the next, or sorry, so after that whole discussion of like the whole thing with Snezhnaya, they finally move on to the character showcase for like the two new characters. So the first one, obviously, right? The first one is O'Day or Odette, however you want to pronounce her name. So basically, she is, I believe I don't know if I saw this or heard this correctly. I might have been like mismatching everything, like in that beginning part, but I wrote down here she lives two lives, or like she has like two sides of her, where she's a ballet dancer, but she's also an assassin, and it kind of makes sense because of like her gimmick. But we'll get into that a little bit. She's a member of the Fatui, which obviously makes sense. She lives in Snezhnaya, so she's bound to at least have some connection to the Fatui. If anything, she's part of it. An important piece here I wrote down here. She had a connection with La Signora, and the reason for that is she was actually praised by La Signora, like or Rosalind. God damn, I'm not gonna lie. Hearing speaking of fucking La Signora, man, different opinions, man. As soon as you see like some of the recent shit that happened, obviously with the Snezhnaya's fucking trailer, or like her or like the animated short, basically, like with fucking Rosalind just being casual and shit. I had an entirely different opinion of her. But yeah, basically she I don't know if it's like O'Day like respects her, or like also has like the highest amount of like admiration for her, since obviously, right, she was praised by Rosalind, but like that's like basically why she still does what she does as a ballet dancer. Like despite going through like all the rigorous training and still doing her own thing, like she was able to do what she can because of her, basically. But going actually to her kit, um, so oh they basically, and I think this is gonna go for like all of well, most of the shit's 9 characters. Um, but basically, they're going to be the one that can enable stellar reactions. Um, and she can also boost damage of like other party members as well. Uh, Let me see. Um, she has this elemental skill that basically summons a double, like a darker version of herself that deals stellar damage. Uh, like similar to I guess every other sub DPS character basically. So, um, but what's unique about her skill is that she can actually, um, if you are I don't know if the way to describe it, but I decided if you hit the skill again while you're near her, or if you're just near the double, you can follow up with a um, you can deal more damage with the follow up attack basically. Um, and then let me see. Oh, and then she also off field or like off combat, she can basically locate any local specialties. Um, let me see. Also has mini quests. Explain later. Oh, okay. That. Honestly, I was supposed to cross this out because I don't think that's the case, but rather, I think that is something else, which I'll explain later, because it is written down here. Um, I thought like, cause I assumed, okay, so I assumed she had a mini quest because a lot of the characters did have one. And I'm not talking about like character story quests. I'm talking about like the little side notes that other characters, like I believe the Nokrai had, like Flynn, Nefer, Yehoda, those type of characters. I thought she had a similar thing compared to them, but apparently not. It's actually something else. So again, we'll get back to that one in a later point. Okay, and then I know I mentioned already how she can actually like how she's supposed to be like a sub DPS. She can also act as an actual like on field DPS. Uh, cause and this involves like with the skill again, um, like where she can go up close to like her double and do more damage. That's basically what I think they described it as. Um, and then they did like little Easter eggs for her, for the character. And I wrote an example here. Basically, if you mash the skill during like an idle animation, she can actually perform a dance longer than usual, which is actually kind of interesting. That rarely ever happens in a character, if not at all. So it's very interesting to see. It's very interesting to see this character specifically have that type of like interaction. So it's very cool. Let me see. And then they went to the next character, which is Alyosha. And then the way they described him was he's basically a professional hunter with darker intentions, or like basically, I'm guessing because he has like this side of like justice that's against like Snezhnaya basically. At least that's what I believe when I was like looking at the character traits. Um, Hellsouth Traveler when entering. Okay, I mean that's obvious. This is like basically your equivalency of like Amber, like from the beginning of the game. Um, and then his main gimmick is that he can deal off-field electro damage and can heal party members at the same time. And then when a pulsar field is active on the field or in the area, it boosts the attack and stellar conduct damage of all characters. And then he also has like a animal companion named Tugarin, which is his dog, which is very cute. I think it's like one of the very few characters that actually has like a companion that can attack. I know like Linnea has one, which is like the Fae, or not a Fae, but like the Jack Frost. But yeah, like there's like a character, like I guess like a character that actually has like an actual like more realistic animal, right? And basically the dog can actually attack opponents that have been marked by Alyosha. And this happens, I believe, during the burst, like his elemental burst. And then he's also another character that does like the whole local specialties thing on the minimap, which is very good because obviously this is gonna be a and this explains or sorry, rather this is actually good because he is gonna be free during the quest. Like basically you play a little bit in the quest, you basically get Alyosha in your party, which is good because now you can actually have a character that can actually locate any type of like specialties that you need for like level ascensions and stuff. So that's good. And then after that, they went back to what do you call it? They went back to talking about more stuff like from Snezhnaya. They talked about more of the characters that we saw during the Transcendence trailer. So they obviously went back to O'Day, but they also talked about Vadian's Nitsa. I swear, I apologize again if I botch a lot of these names, but you just have to bear with me. So they talked about how these two are like basically like, well, the way I fucking saw it, right? They talked about it like if they were like the idols of like Snezhnaya, because one's a dancer and one's a singer, but they both have a fucking heavy fan base. And basically there was a character, like there was an NPC that had like, or rather I think two of them, but they had like fucking like the signs of like the characters like pick. like you see like from the ones from like all like the live shows you see like when idols perform, it's basically that. So that's what the fucking reminded me of, and I was like, okay, that actually makes so much fucking sense. And then after that, they talked a little bit about Mia. And okay, I honestly don't know why I wrote this, but I'm fucking gonna say it anyways, because I think it's gonna happen anyways, because you know how the fucking fan base is. I wrote here, Mia looking like a fuckable twink. Yeah, I don't know why the fuck I wrote that. I think it might happen. I think there's enough fucking fan base where people are gonna be like, yeah, this guy's fuckable. This guy's like a cute ass fucking fanboy type of character. I don't know. It doesn't help either. I wrote down here below that, because obviously, right, they're showing out these new characters. Um, Valerie, Major Valerie. Um, I'm guessing he's like the major of like a military like bit. Obviously, I don't know why the fuck I said it like that, but yeah, I wrote down here looking like a new husbando, and I'm like, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. He does. He looks like a fucking. He looks like a fucking huge hunk of meat that like fucking I can appreciate. Fucking hell. But yeah, those are the characters so far that they've shown off. Not not mentioned yet. Okay, and then okay. So remember how I said that? Remember how I said that I thought O'Day was gonna have a mini quest as soon as you get her. No. So apparently, just like in Not Cry, there's meeting points throughout the map where you can actually raise the level of like a meeting point, and you get like certain story interactions with the character. Yeah, so that's basically what this is. So O'Day has a meeting point, and the way I wrote it down here. Apparently you're gonna be her manager. That you're planning her schedule, and like to see how she will do every week. Oh, and the interesting part of this, okay, so this actually did kind of remind me a little bit. I don't know if it's like fully, but I did feel a little bit like if this was like a hangout. Like, you know, like how back then, like in fucking Genshin Impact, what was it? They did fucking like little storylines for certain characters, where you basically kind of do like a weird like hangout. Oh yeah, that's basically what it is. It's a fucking hangout. Oh, I did not mean to do that. Oh my goodness. But yeah, basically fucking you go on like the little dates, or like fucking you do like certain stuff with like 4-star characters specifically. It's not like 5 stars. 4-star characters that basically have like their own little storyline that don't really affect like a major part of the story at all. But yeah, because apparently the way I wrote this down on as a bullet point, choices do affect storyline. So depending on what you do for her for her plans throughout the week, it actually affects the storyline, and it shows that like an example where it's like if you do like option A, you get this certain amount of points, but you lose this amount of points. And then second option is the vice versa. One will get you like a little bit more, a little bit less, or like one that does heavily, and one that doesn't. And basically you do that every week. In game. I don't think it's like fucking real time. That would be fucked up if it was real time, because that's gonna be sad, and that would like screw a lot of things in my actual schedule. But yeah, I'm assuming you just choose like what you want her to do during those days, and then by the end of the week, you get basically an ending depending on what you choose. So that's basically what that is. Which is I think I do like. Oh yeah, It's again like it does remind me a little bit about like the hangouts that Genshin used to do before they kind of just stopped with Lene or after Lene. So again, kind of glad to see this again, even though it is a meeting point. Um, and then the second meeting point is with Alyosha, and then in his, it's investigating a case, which is like basically a normal one. I want to say this is like similar to what do you call it? Or I think it's just like a normal one, really. If anything, like I think it's like similar to like the Varco one, Luya one. Like just like the special little interactions that you do with them, but it's involving a case. I don't know how exactly it's gonna work out, but that's basically what I wrote down here. Oh, and then I don't know. Oh, right. Okay, now I remember why I fucking wrote this down. Because below that is also there's a bear character. There's a bear bipedal character, which is true. They showed off fucking 3 bears with clothing on, and I was like, what the fuck? Like, what are we doing now? Like, first it's like fucking like these wolf-like creatures, and now it's fucking bears. Like, what is this? Like Zenless Zone Zero or some shit? Like, what the fuck? Okay, honestly, I know I said that unironically. I don't even know if that's the case. I know, like, I saw like the fucking glimpse of that somewhere, for that game specifically. I don't know if that's true or not, but you know, fucking, what do I know? That's what I fucking base it off of. But yeah, so that's interesting. And then I think it's like throughout that meeting point you get this special card, and then apparently the special card unlocks something from like a certain chest. But they said that there was like, oh, like you'll have to find out in game when you do the meeting point. So I was like, all right, I get it, whatever. And then one more meeting point. It's with Vadyanitsa. And for this one, it's vocal training. So supposedly, from what they said, she actually has like a secret hiding spot where she does vocal training. We stumble upon her, and then we find out about her little secret. But then she actually requests us to help her out with the vocal training because there's something that's affecting her training, and all the animals that are nearby are actually being affected by this one thing that's like actually like hurting her training. So we're there to basically figure it out. And then and then they actually did something unique here. So unlike the ones in Not Cry, once you do all 3 of these meeting points, like max level them, apparently you get like an actual special quest, which involves 3 of them. Basically, I think it's like something involving. I didn't write it down here, but I think I remember a little bit of it. It's basically something that deals with like an abandoned train station, and I think it's like we're trying to rebuild it or something like that. I don't remember exactly, but apparently I remember fucking writing this down. I don't know why the fuck I wrote this down. So apparently we've seen these like. I don't know why, because I literally wrote this, God, and you know what sucks too? This was like my first impression too. Like I didn't care about like the fucking special quest. I just saw like these cute little fucking creatures, and I was like, oh my god, they look so fucking cute. But that will be explained in a little bit, or like at a later point. Don't worry, fucking. There's a reason why I wrote that. Fucking. Oh my goodness. Okay, and then after that, they showed off like a tease for like the future characters that are coming towards like future updates. like Vesna, Danica, Desarisa, and then Noi, which I know at least from what I've seen, a lot of like people have been fucking fanboying over this fucking character. Like he's like the new husbando, which I don't, like I said, I don't see an issue with that. Fucking just straight the fucking. He is the husbando. I can see that. This man looks like a fine hunk piece of meat. But yeah, there's that. And then they announced the banners that are coming in for this update. So the first half is obviously the new character, Ode. And running alongside her will be Arlecchino as a rerun. And then chances with Alyosha is up along decided too. So that's good if you want to C6 him. Obviously, right, we're going to be going for Ode, hopefully. I have saved up enough. Hopefully I just don't lose the 50-50 when I get to that point. But yeah, there's that. And then the second half of the update, or like the second banner, will be a rerun of Flynn's and Inefa, which is good because obviously, right? Good chance to go back into like lunar reactions in case if you never got Flynn's, either from his initial run or the rerun with Varka. And then I think Inefa is just good in general for two reasons, right? Obviously, still helps with the whole lunar reaction type of bit. But she's actually not that bad as just like a generic support for stellar conduct, honestly, because right, obviously you guys kind of seen well, obviously you guys, as you guys can sort of see, I do have Inefa in the party, and I've actually been using her as like a generic piece of like of the part, like as an important part of the party, like because right now Yaimika's not doing enough, so I've been using Inefa as like as a boost for her damage. So like she's actually not that bad. Like if you don't have like any of the characters that can just do or that are associated with stellar conduct, I think Inefa at least is a good character to get because she can deal off-field electro damage. But yeah, unfortunately, I don't know if I'm gonna go for anything in that banner. I might go for Flynn's weapon because I don't have his weapon. At least for them. Oh no, not at the moment. I don't have his weapon at all, so I might be able to go get it. But I'm probably just gonna prioritize over Ode and maybe her signature weapon. And then they showed off the new craftable 4-star weapons, which you can get from like the materials that you grind off of during exploration. And then we also get new battle pass weapons exclusively for this update, or like that's coming up in this next update, which is gonna be good because I don't think we had an update, or like I don't think we ever had new weapons for the battle pass. Well, at least I know for Noctri we didn't have any when it came to that. I don't know if Natwin had like new battle pass weapons, but I mean it's good to have them now at least, so I can at least now get a new one instead of like, kind of like choosing one to refine for like max like refinement. And then they showed off 2 new artifact sets that are coming towards Snezhnaya specifically. Something called the Scarlet Proof, which basically increases crit rate and stellar swirl damage specifically. And then the Heart of the Furnace, which increases the attack and the party's stellar damage. So it's very good for any like team of like stellar reaction. And then with that, they actually went to their second break. My God. Holy shit. Yeah, again, like I said, a lot of things that they talked about during that whole duration. And then during the break, they actually showed off like a trailer of what we're expecting, at least when it comes to like exploration. So they showed off basically a little bit of like the new gameplay for Genshin Impact, which is like the third-person shooter. And they showed off like customization, not only for the guns, but also like the whole, like you can like create terrain throughout like the map of Snezhnaya. So it's just very like looked very cool, but we'll get more into that as we go further in. And then they went into like a new setting, and they brought in a different person specifically for this one. And then they were talking about the whole exploration thing. The first thing they mentioned was the new outfits for the Traveler specifically, but only for the Shadow Realm. Like, you cannot use this outfit in the actual, like, or rather, you can't wear this in, like, the overworld, basically. You can only wear this during the Shadow Realm. And then they talked about the new gameplay style, which is third-person shooter. So obviously, right, this is like new territory for them. So they kind of like really talked about like how it's different compared to like the actual gameplay for Genshin Impact. But it still has like the main game elements, which is like the whole elemental reactions, which is like obviously is very important. Oh, and then right, okay, so I wrote here like on the side note because I mentioned it during like when I first watched it. I was like, so surely they're not gonna have like fucking aim assist, right? To make up for like the fact that this is a new thing. And then literally as I said it, fucking they talked about it and I was like, oh my fucking god. Like they added micro aim assist and target snapping, so you have like a better experience for the game. And I was like, yeah, I should have expected that. Like honestly, I know they do that at least for like Fortnite, and I can't remember another game, but that has it. But yeah, I know they do it for that. Oh right, and then because I kept watching it, like the gameplay, and my initial like my impression of it was, god damn man, it really does look like the new Gears. Oh man, which is again not a bad thing. As you guys probably, well, no, I was gonna say, probably rarely known or not known at all. I am fucking a huge Gears fan, Gears of War fan. Goddamn, like I don't even know how the fuck I can describe it, man. like all the way back in like I want to say since 2000. I was gonna say 2008, because I didn't initially start with Gears of War like since 2006. I kind of got on it like during Gears of War 2, because one of my best friends, Martin, fucking got into it. I feel like I know I'm going off topic for a little bit, but like I feel like I do have to talk about it because again, this is like one of those things that's like kind of important. And don't worry, this will be important because it's gonna come up like towards the end of this fucking session. Yeah, fucking been a huge fan since like Gears 2. Like been playing it like through like all the titles, like been through it with many years. I know there's been like a dying like sort of like a I don't know what to say, like it's like a like it kind of died down a little bit like during like well after Gears 5, right? Because Gears 5 like it's a fine game. Like it's a fine game. I feel like because of like the more mechanics, like it feels like or no. How do I say it? And it was weird for me to say that. Now I'm thinking about it, like it's a fine, like how Gears 5 is a fun game. No, it's a good game, but because like the fact that like I don't know, we haven't had like a new Gears game entirely for like at least 10 years, and I'm not counting fucking Reloaded. Reloaded is a remaster, a remastered of like fucking Gears of War, the original, right? Like more upscaled graphics and whatnot. Like we just hadn't had a new Gears game for so long. Like it kind of died down a bit. But then E-Day comes up like 2 years ago. Like yeah, 2 years ago, and we were so excited. And we didn't get like anything else out of it for like another like 2 years up to now. Because obviously, right, they showed off like the game during the Xbox showcase, and we were like fucking hyped for it. So yeah, like very excited for Gears. But yeah, going back, I know again, going off topic because again, fucking the gameplay looks similar to Genshin Impact. That's what they're doing with third-person shooters. Because the way, okay. And now I guess I'll explain why I'm saying it like that. Because the way the gameplay looks, right? You have the cover. You have the cover fire. You have the vault. You have like the way you shoot the enemies. It looks like Gears 5, like the vibe for it. And then when they're doing the movement, they even had the new sliding mechanic that they had for Gears 5, or not Gears 5, for Gears E-Day. And I'm like, okay, you're kind of hyping this up even more just because of this. So, yeah. That's why I said like it has like it really feels like Gears. So I'm very excited for like what I'm about to be playing, at least for this game's like version of it. Oh, and then I wrote down here too. I don't know why. Oh right, okay. Because again, I think it's just because I like third-person shooters more than first-person. Just I don't know. Maybe it's just because like it's like the visuals of it, if not like the actual gameplay mechanics of it. But like for some reason I wrote down here also has nostalgic feel of Fatal Bullet. And yeah, I can see why, because there are some points in like the trailer or like not sure, in the presentation where they showed off like some bits, pieces of it that do remind me of the game. Fatal Bullet, or rather like SAO, Sword Art Online, Fatal Bullet. Um, you guys don't know this. I was a huge fucking fan of that game. Um, well, like I've been a fan of like SAO, right? And that's weird to say because like there's like a lot of mixed feelings for it. I do like the Gun Gale Online, just because like it's like a different type of like from the original SAO, right? Um, but when Fatal Bullet came out, I was very excited to play that, and obviously that game is also a third-person shooter, which has its own like gimmicks and whatnot. But the reason why I wrote has a nostalgic feel of Fatal Bullet because in one of the scenes with the Traveler, they use a grappling gun, and that immediately reminded me of like the same gimmick that Fatal Bullet has, where I don't remember the exact like name of it or even like the abbreviation, but basically it grapples onto like anything, and you can basically use it like a hook shot to get into like higher places or like places that you can't even reach. And that's basically what that was. Like they used the grappling gun to basically traverse to like a different part of the area, which again, that's what it reminded me of. So, um, yeah. Let's see. Okay, and then they showed off the three types of guns that the Traveler can use. Each with their own set of like element. I don't know if it's like specifically for that one, but at least that's what they showed off so far. Uh, so the first one they showed off was the cryo rifle for precision aiming, which is basically like a marksman rifle, which again makes sense. I do like that. Like I do like the feel for it, like specifically for like third person. Again, just kind of reminds me of Gears, at least with like what do you call it? The breach shot slash I don't remember the exact name of the gun, but it's the one that was introduced in Gears Judgment, which is odd to say because that is actually like it's like the basically like the it's like the semi sniper rifle for that one, or like the DMR version of basically of what the Gears thing. But yeah, that's what that is. And then you have the Electro rifle for assault, which is basically an assault rifle. That has like lock on target. I don't know what the fuck. Like you already had like micro aim assist. Why the fuck do you have to have target lock on as well? That makes no fucking sense. But I mean that's what that is. And then you have a grenade launcher that you can either use as pyro, cryo, or electro, I believe, from what I've seen. But yeah, it's basically a grenade launcher that you can shoot at a lobbed angle and just like kill enemies within like a range like explosion. And then they showed off like I don't know what it looked like, but it looked like a grenade that you can throw. I think it's like a from what it looked like a hydro element that you can chuck, and then you can also use that to basically use it as a reaction. Basically, that's what the whole purpose of that is, though. I don't think it's like a I don't think it's like an actual explosion like weapon you can use. But yeah, those are the three types of guns. And then you can also apparently unlock like attachments for the guns as well, which is fucking cool. Because again, this is like one of those bits where, um, okay, I hate going back to it because again, it reminded me of um, when they showed off E-Day multiplayer, where you can customize the fucking attachments on your gun. It's exactly like that. That's what the fuck that was. And I was like, what the fuck, man? Oh shit, that's crazy. Um, but yeah, let's see. They talk about and then they talked about like having like certain controllers, or not controllers, but like control settings for like the two different for like two different play styles. So in case if like you're not used to like now like the first option, you can go to another one or you can customize it. Honestly, I don't know like why I wrote that, but they talked about it. Because obviously, right, we're a console user, and again, it just feels more natural to have it like. I'm pretty sure it's fucking designed to have it be set like the way it is. I mean, if anything, you can also adapt to like the control settings. Like you probably don't need a fucking button map, anything specific to like a preferred thing. But yeah, that's what I wrote about on here. God, I don't know why. Let's see. Okay, I think they were done with the whole third-person shooter stuff. Okay, now they're actually talking about the exploration here. So, they were talking about how people might be complaining how it might be very similar to Dragon Spine, because obviously, right, Dragon Spine is an area that deals with the cold. It's like on a fucking mountain, basically. So people have been complaining that like it's very similar to that. It might have like the cold mechanic feature. It kind of does, and it kind of doesn't. At least from the way they described it. So, they mentioned how we're gonna get a gadget from Hyperborea, or like from like, or like at least that's like similar to from Hyperborea, called like the Eye of Graye. Not gonna lie, I could not care for the pronunciation. It's literally a fucking scouter. It's literally a scouter, like fucking like from the ones, well, not the ones from like Dragon Ball Z, but like it's literally a fucking like gadget you can just fucking see from here. It's just what it basically is. So basically what it does is, it stores the Kresnik energy, like the stuff that we talked about before, how like they use the minerals to heat up like the nation, or like the city. So they basically use that to store like the gadget stores the Kresnik energy, and then the energy is used the more the area is cold, or at least that's how I wrote it. Uses energy the more cold it is. Yeah, like, so basically if you go to a colder part of the area, it consumes more energy. Obviously this is very similar, and the way to get like energy back is through I guess like similar how they did it in Dragon Spine, where you hit like a certain like I don't remember what the red stone is called in Dragon Spine, but it's basically that you hit the Kresnik crystals to basically gather energy to basically restore like energy for your gadget. And then they said you can also use the gadget to alter the environment to create like certain pieces of terrain. So um, I'm not sure like what they meant by like some of them, but at least I knew like some of the other parts that they mentioned because like obviously right they mentioned like uh, you can use the gadget to create a snowball launcher to basically um, go for distance. Um, and then they talked about and then I mentioned it here again. Um, they mentioned how you can craft a grappling gun, which again I mentioned fatal bullet on here. But yeah, basically that's like your other type of movement. You can also create a heat source, so you don't have to like basically go find like the like the crestic energy crystals to basically keep warm. You can just create like an actual heat source for yourself, um, just in case. Um, oh, and then they also mentioned how like the pulsar field can also resist like the cold. So even when you're in combat, like the meter will go down since you're using like a bunch of like stellar reaction, right? Which makes sense. Since like the pulsar field is basically just the whole thing with it. Um, okay, and then they talked about a mini tour of Snezhnaya, or basically, right? They showed like some of the parts of like Snezhnaya that's not Snezhnogrand. The first thing they showed off was a Jack Frost village, which is like basically Lumi's hometown, and then they fucking joked about doing the catchphrase for Lumi. Yahoo! Um, oh, and then they have like a certain store uh, in that village where you can redeem like rewards and stuff. One of the rewards specifically that they mentioned and shown off was a weapon skin for sword users, and the weapon skin was actually a blue popsicle, which is kind of cute. I did kind of like it, especially when they put it on Chi Chi, which is very like which made it more cute. Um, and then apparently they talked about the fish in Snezhnaya, how they looked like flakes and snowmen. Not really big, like a big one in my opinion, but I mean that's good. Um, oh, okay. And then they talked about more, like a little bit more about like the creatures that live in Snezhnaya. So, the first one they talked about was the Volkovlax, which, oh yeah, well, I think that's how you pronounce it. The Volkodlax. That's what I'm gonna call it. Honestly, I had no idea what that meant, so I actually had to look it up. Apparently, it's like a Slavic term for a werewolf or like a wolf skin like creature. Honestly, it's just better to call it werewolf. Which unfortunately, didn't look like that at all. Because normally, if I ever saw a werewolf, that's not what the fuck I saw as a werewolf. A werewolf looks like more like a fucking dog bipedal creature. The thing I saw was like didn't look like one at all. Like that one had like it was like a red haired skin, like big pointy ear, like big fluffy tail creature, and I was like, that is not a werewolf. I can tell you that, or anything that looks like a wolf at all. And then the next creature they showed off was, I kid you not, it's called a polar bear. Polly Arbor. And no, I was not like trying to pronounce slowly pronounce that. That's literally fucking. I slowed it out down for the intended pun use of the word. Polly Arbor. Like, you know, like polar bear, but polar bear. Fuck, it's always like, oh, so stupid. It's literally a fucking like, it's literally just like the big ass bears. Like he's just fuck, and then you see him just like doing this like to the tree. He's like fucking, he just like fucking scratching his fucking scratches his fucking bare ass on the fucking his bare ass back ass bear to the wall or to the tree. I was like, what the fuck, man. And then they showed off the Morrowtown, which honestly that looks more like a fucking dog, like an actual like wolf dog, if anything. Like it's literally like a hound, like the Arctic wolf in that area. Okay, now so here's the thing. I know I'm gonna mispronounce the name again. Volcog Blacks. I know I said that I had to Google this and it apparently was a werewolf. But then they used the name again. But then the thing that they showed off was like the fucking little rabbit like creature with the ice skaters, like the ice skating, in the fucking like in the teaser trailer. And I'm like, that is not a fucking werewolf at all. That's a rabbit with fucking like, with dangerous ice blades, like ice rink blades. Like, are you kidding me? And then the next small creature that I mentioned on here was a nocturne owl, which is basically a blue owl. I don't think there's really anything to like go into further detail on that. And then the last thing, or the last creatures that they showed off, which unironically goes back to the thing that I fucking like was like mentioning before with like the little creatures. Those are called Dumblevoice, which I don't know what to describe it as. Like the only thing I can describe it as is a fucking like pointed eared dwarf, right? Which makes sense. Like if an elf and a dwarf had a baby, and that was like the result. But yeah, that's what those were. Why the fuck did I write down everything is... Oh, right, okay. I wrote down everything is a threat because they're like, okay, so despite these creatures being cute and cuddly, they will attack you. Like, keep your distance. Don't fucking go near with a 10-foot pole or else they will hurt you. Because that's what that happened. Especially with the little fucking Dumblevoice. Fucking they created like fucking ice sculptures to fucking attack you, and I was like, oh shit, that's crazy. Okay, and then they were talking. Okay, the next thing they were talking about was like the train stations have been like a new way for transport. Like basically, like anywhere you go at a far distance, you're gonna go by a train. Oh my god, I did it again. But yeah, like Snezhnaya having like the main hub for, or like the central area for like all of the train stations leads to Snezhnaya. Oh, and then apparently we get our very own train to work with that can travel to any of the stations that's like basically marked on the map, or like on a sub map. Sorry, because it's not like on the actual map of Tibet. It's like a station map basically to where you want to go next. And then they showed off like what's inside our own train, um, such as a workbench for our guns, which is kind of crazy. Um, Apparently, Catherine's been replaced. Not really. Yeah, and wrote that in quotes because basically, uh, Catherine's not there. It's basically she's speaking through a communicator, and I was like, oh wait, so why is Catherine not here with us again? I was like, is there like a certain reason? I was like, I'm guessing she just can't be in our own train. We can't have a Catherine of our own in our train, so it's like whatever. um, and then interesting enough, they actually mentioned the crafting bench, in the train, which they actually go into actual bit of detail. Because I wrote next to it in quotes, it's forbidden. And they actually gave a reason for that. Basically, it's for like alchemy is banned from fucking Snezhnaya, and I can kind of see that, considering one of the fucking one of the heavenly principles is literally an alchemist. Fucking fucking Brian daughter. But yeah. Yeah, so that's the reason why. So that's why there's a crafting bench only specifically in our trains. So I'm assuming that's just your only location to actually have like a fucking. It's not like gonna be in like the actual city itself. So that's basically what it is. Let me see. They showed off 2 new overworld bosses. And then I wrote here parentheses, chimeras, which, yeah, that makes sense because like I'm trying to remember it now. One of them is like, well, they're both 4-legged creatures, but like one of them was like more red, had like a plant-like body as its torso, but then had like a humanoid like torso for like a head. And I was like, okay, that's kind of wicked and kind of cool. And then the other one was kind of like more badass, honestly. It was like more like a generic actual type of chimera. It had like the lion's head and like the rooster's head as well. But then apparently it's holding a sword in its mouth, and I'm like, hello, that's kind of sick. It's kind of crazy. They talked about the world quests in Snezhnaya because it involves like the tree branches in the sky, like above Snezhnaya basically, and we're gonna have to find out for the reason for that. Apparently it leads to a new area in Snezhnaya that's more like what it used to be, like a warmer like area. It's called like the Flame Feather Valley, which again, by the way, all these areas they've been showing off, fucking beautiful, man. Like it's like one of those places like, god damn, I wish I could fucking just sleep here, bro. So good. Oh, apparently they're. Oh, and then one of the main characters, I guess, in that story quest will be a little girl with tree branches on head. Like, I know I wrote that down exactly as I did, but it's like the only way I can describe it as, because that's what they fucking described it as. I was like, okay, makes sense. And then apparently, I don't know if this is gonna be in the same quest, but we're apparently gonna be partaking in a wedding, and a Sneguraka wedding, which apparently is like, I think like their race is heavily like aboard with like fucking the whole love and romantic interest. So that's gonna be cool. Um, if you guys don't know, I guess I could mention it. The character looked, or like the NPC that we talked to during that quest, is actually one of the ones that we saw from Linnea's story quest. The one that actually we fought during the tournament arc with our little Saurian buddy. Yeah, that was one of the characters from Snezhnaya, and she's there. So there's that. And then we get to, well, probably it's like one of the best looking places I've seen in Genshin Impact. The White Birch Snowgrave. The one that they showed off, like, what looked like was where the Cerise would be at. But, like, it's like the giant fucking castle, like, in the plateau of, like, the mountain with all the lights coming out. I was like, oh my god, it just looks so fucking beautiful, man. And apparently, that area is where we're gonna learn about the first Cryo Archon, the Bel Yi Sar. So that's gonna be very cool to learn more like the lore on that. Oh, and then I wrote down here, Eye of Grace Vital. So basically, the devs are saying that fucking gadget that you're gonna be using throughout the fucking update, probably a mandatory, like, have at all times, because it's important. You're not gonna be living without that. Okay, and that's most of that. This is actually going into their final break. Can you not believe it? This is like their final break before the last part that they want to talk about. Nothing important like during like the whole break thing. It was just again another code that you can get to redeem for Prima Gems. Okay, so the last thing that to talk about after the break is the version events that are going to be coming up throughout this whole update. So obviously, right, we have our side story event, the one that goes on for like about 2 weeks, or at least, yeah, I think it's like 2 or 3 weeks. It's at least for up to like the first banner, like during the whole duration of the first banner. But yeah, so I did not write what it was called. I think it was called something called the Great Exploration of Mist or something like that. I could be wrong. Like I said, I did not write the actual name of the event, but apparently, this whole thing is basically a tournament arc. Yeah, I know I wrote tournament arc, but it's not a tournament arc, but it is a tournament nonetheless. It's like certain part, like the mini games basic are based off of like the tournament, which we'll get into in a bit. So I don't remember. I did not write down the main person that was supposed to be part of the event. It is supposed to be like a random adventurer. I don't know if it was from like Snezhnaya or from Mondstadt, but they're here basically as like the organizer, I believe. And then Diona also makes an appearance during this whole event because she was hired as the mixologist for the event. Oh my goodness, man. I feel like I'm running out of breath. Dude, I've been talking for like almost 2 hours. If not, it is 2 hours. But yeah, going back to what I was saying before. So Diana makes an appearance. And then, like I said, she's there as a mixologist. I already said that before. Okay, and then they go into the mini games itself. So the first one they showed off, I wrote down here as train simulator. Yeah, so basically, you're supposed to be riding a train from one destination to another. You're supposed to like traverse through like the conditions. You're supposed to know when to like do like gear shifts and like turns, or like do brakes. Basically anything that resembles a simulation. So there's that. The second one, which honestly I think is gonna be my favorite, is the gun combat, the third-person shooter shit. Because basically it's just like fucking score as high as you can while you're shooting a bunch of shit. That's basically all it is. And again, obviously, right? New gameplay mechanic. I'm fucking gonna be down just to try it out. Third one that they mentioned here is the Jack Frost platformer puzzle. This one's pretty much self-explanatory. You just guide Jack Frost basically from one end to another, placing stuff, make sure it doesn't like fall off. And then the last mini game is just a combat challenge. I guess if anything, what's unique about this one is that I'm guessing you score enough points, you turn into a snowball, you run over enemies like Katamari Damacy. I think that's what it's called. I know it's just Katamari. That's how you usually call it. But yeah, it's basically like that. And then after you get enough points for the event, you can invite Diona to the party, which again, not the worst if you're a newer player and they have not C6'd her or not have gotten her at all. Then more power to you. I'm assuming for like veteran players that since the launch this is like basically useless, or like if anything it's basically a free intertwined fate. I did write down here though, as like a sub bullet, I was kind of hoping Diona to have an alternate skin or like an alternate costume. And I know I'm kind of reaching, but yeah, we did get 2 new outfits for Seat Lolly and Charlotte respectively. But come on, man. If you were gonna do this, at least do something new and a little bit refreshing. Because Diona, like, again, Diona is buffed through the Stellar Conduct stuff, so, or like through the Witch's Revelation, so, like, I feel like maybe there should be something rewarding other than getting the character herself. Like, I feel like maybe a skin would be cool, but I mean, that's just them. I can't really say much else. Okay, and then they showed off the 2 small events that are going to be coming throughout the whole update. The first one is called Mutual Aid in Bloom, and okay. The thing I wrote down as to describe it is pretty fucking stupid, but it makes sense. Like, Build a Bear version, but it's Build a Catherine. Just, you can customize your little mini portrait or your mini figurine of, like, Catherine any way you like. And that's just cute. That's basically what it is. That's how they showed it off. I don't know anything about like the actual mechanics of it. I'm just assuming, right? But that's what it basically looked like. They could build a bear version of like that, but with Catherine. um, and then the second one is called Trial of the Bastion. Now this one I wrote down here as similar to Tower Defense with a question mark. Yes and no, because yeah, you are kind of setting up like fortification to like to defeat enemies from going to like a certain like path, but then it's like okay, it's third person shooter too, right? So I was like, okay, I can see why again it's like a tower defense, but at the same time it's not, because you're introducing the third person shooter mechanic into this. So, which again, I'm all for it. I'm all for this type of gameplay. Right. So, very excited for that one. Any miscellaneous stuff is on here. We're very close to the end, like very finally see the end of this. So, the first miscellaneous, I'm guessing there's like more like small updates to like certain other game types or like other little stuff. So the first one they had here was like the Echo Visionage for Tartaglia and Xiao, which I'm very surprised, honestly. I understand Tartaglia because he's from Snezhnaya, but I'm more surprised that Xiao's getting one, right? Xiao, the Adeptus from Liyue. Yeah, it's kind of interesting that they're kind of doing this now. I honestly thought they did this earlier. I'm not gonna lie. I thought they had him earlier. But no. They're barely releasing one for him, which is good. TCG, Genius Invocation update. So Yahoda, Durin, and the Hydro Hypostasis are getting their own cards, and also their talents as well, I believe. So that's cool. I really do need to get back into that. I feel like we've done that. I've done that bit like once or twice, and then like for a stream, and then I never. I've done a couple of it off screen, but then it's like, oh, yeah, I can kind of see why this is kind of a little bit grindy, and over repetitive. But yeah, and then the last small event that they have on here is the Overflow Abundance. So basically, any type of material that you need to level up, whether it be talents or for weapons. So that's basically good for any new characters, honestly, or any other old characters you want to build, or like Stellar Conduct or anything like that, or Stellar Swirl. Sorry, that too. But yeah, let me see. Apparently they talked about a journal specifically for Snezhnaya added, which is very similar to like the travel logs that you have a couple of patches ago, or if not, like, yeah, like 2 patches ago, when like for the final Archon quest, basically. And then let me see. A few quality of life changes, I believe. Most recent domains are now going to be on top of like the domain page. So like artifacts, weapon ascension and talent ascension are going to be priority first to like the most recent nation, or like any of the new ones, rather. Um, Map pin increase. So the number of pins of uh you can use on the map is increased to, I believe it's 350. If not, I think it's 400. Um, Stinging Onslaught, new weapon skins. Honestly, I forgot. I guess I know I mentioned it. Um, I mentioned it. What was it? The last time we did a Stinging Onslaught? How they kind of. Well, I thought they didn't do skins anymore, or rather, I complained about the skins, right? Where they were like limited time. Um, yeah, apparently those are back. That's kind of cool, I guess. I mean, the skins look cool. Not gonna like, I won't lie. Those skins look really cool. I think that the fact that they're limited again is just really kind of stupid. And obviously, right, you have to unlock them by doing the medicine difficulty. So yeah, probably not really worth it, at least for me. But they do look cool. Like I'll say. And then the last thing they mentioned before, like the super miscellaneous stuff, to temper thyself, like rewards actually got a huge update. Basically, more characters have been added to get the constellations for. So all the characters from Fontaine and Mizuki are now available to get, except for the Archons, obviously, of course, right? So Farina and Nouvelle won't be on there, but every other character from Fontaine should be on there, and Mizuki, obviously. Yeah, so that's pretty much it for that. The next thing they transferred to was the orchestra of performance, which honestly I only wrote one thing here because it's literally only one thing to describe it as. It's fucking outstanding. I loved, like, it's weird to say because like I love like most genres of music. I think one of my personal favorites that I can say like is like high up there is orchestra music. It's just like something about it just like is so grand. Just hearing like a bunch of like instruments like just performing. I know I talked about I don't know if I actually talked about this before, but back in like middle school, I was actually in band. Like at first, like I wasn't really good at it, but then I switched to, because at first, like in the beginning, I was actually playing tromboner. I wasn't good at it. So they transferred me to percussion, which honestly, at first I thought that sounded bad because it just meant that I wasn't good enough to play all the winds and like the winds and like the brass instruments. But I found percussion to be a lot of fun, honestly. It was really fun, and I've stuck with it until the end of my high school year. So like I have like experience with it, obviously, and it's just something about being part of an orchestra is like just fucking fantastic. Just hearing and being actually part of like the music itself is just really cool. So that's why I always have an appreciation for like orchestra music. These guys went fucking super hard. I'm not gonna lie. Like I think they outdid themselves, honestly. The atmosphere, like the like the performance itself, obviously. The pianist, she fucking wore like this crazy dress. Like she was like if she was actually like um I wasn't gonna say like the Saritsa herself, but like she looked like fucking like um nobility just playing fucking the piano like hard. And like God, man, the music is so good. Like obviously we can't fucking play it here, but like oh God, like I like I think when um I was rewatching, like when I was watching this um for like what uh the third time overall, there was a couple of points where I actually just went back to that part of the video and just rewatched it because I loved hearing all of the music. It was just so good. And then like honestly, hearing all of that just makes me hype more for like the music that's actually gonna be in the game. Cause I can't wait to hear what that sounds like. Fuck man, it's gonna be so good. But yeah, like they did like a actual like good decent chunk of like they did 2 pieces of music, which is great. Like I said, I love the music. I think it basically took like 8 minutes, like which was very worth it. Which unfortunately leads to the last thing that we're gonna talk about here a little bit. And yeah, it's everyone's favorite Roblox bullshit feature, Millie Astro Wonderland. Okay, Millie Astro Wonderland. Just a few pieces. They didn't go too hard on this one. Obviously they showed off the new theme, right? Which is a fairy tale theme. Bullshit, it's a fairy tale theme. My first impression of it was, holy shit, are we in the fucking casino? Cause the first thing I saw were like the four suits of like the card, like the fucking playable card deck. Just hearts, fucking diamonds, spades, and clubs, and I was like, oh dude, what the hell? This is crazy. Like literally, I wrote down here, more like a casino / Las Vegas vibe. And then the second time I watched it, I was like, okay, maybe more like a magician's set type of bit, because that's also what it looks like. Nothing sort of resembles. Well, okay, I lied. There is like one piece of like I can see why it's a fairy tale, but other than that, no, it's not a fairy tale. So they showed off the costumes, right? Most of it looked nice. They look cool. Like the premium one, you got a gotcha for. Looks like the like the stuff you see magicians wear, like it's all good, fancy and shit. They showed off a couple of the 4-star ones. The 4-star ones I did not really pay attention to. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, they probably looked cool. I'm not gonna lie. Like most of the 4 stars look cool, anyways. I believe the 1 3-piece star though. The only reason why I say it feels like it's a fairy tale, because it looks like the ones from UC and Alice in Wonderland, the soldier boys, fucking in the suits, like the card suits, like they just fucking just wearing that shit. And I'm like, that's why I can only think of that as like a fairy tale. If anything else that's like that would resemble a fairy tale, it's not. But yeah. Again, they did not go too much into it. Obviously, right? And if anything, some of the stuff that they did go over, I'm not a creator, so I wouldn't really know. So that's why I didn't write it down. The only thing I wrote down in here was like basically, 2 things. Okay, 2 things. One, they're just adding like some of the resources that you see in Not Cry. So like stuff from Not Cry is now available um, for Million After Wonderland when it comes out. And then they talked about how they're going to add the third-person shooter mechanic into Million After Wonderland at a later date. Obviously, it's not going to be in this upcoming update, but maybe sometime after. They want to see how it works. They probably want to see how it works first, in the actual game itself before it goes to Million After Wonderland. Honestly, I don't know if that's gonna help. Obviously, right? The only reason I do Wonderland anyways is just for the, I guess, like the remnant, like the battle pass and the remnant. Also fucking for the DPS dummy testing, because obviously that's what everyone uses for their for the team building. But yeah, I've seen some gameplay or like some games that actually do have like a sort of like kit bash version of like third-person shooter. So like, yeah, it is sort of already implemented in Million After Wonderland. It's just because, again, a lot of people try to implement what it would feel like. So having them release the code to do that for Million After Wonderland is going to be very interesting. So I would like to see how people can actually now incorporate their mechanic into their creation, basically. So again, that's like probably the only part I would be excited for, because again, fan of a third-person shooter. And also apparently I wrote one more thing on here. There's also a event for a reward you can get for your Milliasha character, or your mannequin character, which is like a spooky hat, animated spooky hat, for an event. But yeah, last two things on here are just the devs talking about how the game has been alive for 6 years and they want to thank all the fans for supporting the game and showing the love to the game and the community. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Again, I guess going back to what my initial final thoughts would be. When I first saw this, I was super overhyped. This is gonna be awesome. Like, I love almost everything about this. Like, I've been investing in the story from the trailer. I wanted to see how they all worked. I love the new characters, which I'm surprised. I wasn't gonna say I'm not surprised, but because let's be real, a lot of people leaked a bunch of shit already, like based on like the upcoming versions of the game. So it's unfortunate that I've already kind of seen Ode and Alyosha, what they were like before the actual presentation came out. So like, I was spoiled by it, but at the same time I'm like, it's okay, because again, it's only showing off the gameplay mechanics. It's not like showing off like the actual story. If anything, and I know I didn't talk about it like earlier because I felt like one, these are new characters, so I felt like they kind of deserve to be revealed properly. The only reason I did it with Snezhnaya when I talked about her from the leaks was because she was already a character established into the game already at that point, and I mean, it felt obvious like when they were doing like the whole character reveals for like the silhouettes for who was next, it was obvious. It just felt obvious that Snezhnaya was going to be part of it, and it wasn't really like a what do you call it? It wasn't really like I don't want to say like it wasn't special. Like yeah, obviously like Snezhnaya being revealed was special because obviously this was supposed to be a dead character that suddenly came back to life. Obviously, again, going back to the whole nothing bad ever happens in Genshin Impact. But yeah, because Snezhnaya was already a character, and it felt like people were already like kind of like talking about it way in advance before, as soon as the leaks came out. So I was like, okay, I mean it was obvious, like we had to have at least had to talk about it, because she was like, her redesign was interesting to a quote. I'm used to it now, right? I like this Snezhnaya a lot more now because she's actually open to herself. But yeah, like going off topic. Yeah. Yeah. Like going back to main topic. Invested in the story. I love the new characters that we saw for the presentation. Obviously love the new third-person shooter gameplay that's going to be implemented. Like the other stuff, like the other small events that's going to happen. I'm very excited for like the new map exploration. That's going to be awesome. Everything else was okay. Well, I mean, obviously the performance was really good. I love the orchestral performance. Some of the other stuff that I mentioned, miscellaneous, I was okay with. Like, it was fine. Like, I couldn't really care much, but I mean, they always do updates for those anyways. Quality of life was subpar. I think it's like the only thing I could say. Like honestly, the priority of like domains being first, that doesn't really change much, because at least for me, I always go to the map anyways to go to the domain. Like, so it's not really a point. What else? Like the journal thing, I wouldn't really say like it's like helpful. Well, I mean it is helpful, but it's not really helpful in the case of like, I mean, it just shows like, I guess like the progression of like where we're at like in story wise. But yeah, I think with that, I think we're pretty much done with talking about the presentation. Now, I will have to say, because we're gonna talk about, so we're done with the presentation talk, basically. Well, mostly. Okay, so I feel like I have to talk about this now, because the way I'm gonna have to be doing this, in terms of like how it's gonna be done, at least when it comes to streaming, right? So this will be very interesting. So I have it. Okay, so I have the calendar here. I'm looking at it right now. So officially starts. Well, officially starts August 12th, right? For us, it'll be a little bit earlier. It'll be August 11 at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So we'll get it like 4 hours early, which is fine. At the same time, oh sorry, hold on. Okay, yeah. So at the same time, Um, oh no, sorry, not at the same time. It's gonna be a little bit off, but um, the day after the event is released will be the first small event, Mutual Aid and Bloom into the Frostlands, which will cover as we do some of the parts of the update. Oh, by the way, I guess I should explain. We'll probably do the Archon quest first, at least Act 1. Obviously, right, we need to progress a bunch of shit to see how it goes. We're probably not gonna finish everything. So that's that. I want to say, let me see, hold on. Okay, so those, I guess if anything, that's the two I should be worried about. Anything else is okay, or quote unquote should be okay. So the week after the update comes out is the new Genshin Onslaught event. And then a week and a little bit half after will be, or on the 28th of August, will be the side event, which is the Great Expeditionist Challenge. That's what it's called. Thank God I fucking got that in there. That will happen for 2 weeks. We're basically gonna be covering it. Okay, so this one might be a little bit iffy, and I'll explain why in a bit. But I think it should be okay. Like I said, I think it should be okay. It's not like it's the end of the world. And then on September 7th, which should be after Labor Day, is the Trial of the Bastion event, which we should be okay to kind of. I think we'll do a recording of that, honestly. If anything, we won't stream it. If anything, we might, depending on what the feel is. But yeah, those are the events that are happening throughout until I think it's like what the end of September, or not, like halfway through September. Okay, so the two important things that I am a little bit worried about when it comes to streaming this game specifically, is literally at the beginning of this event. Well, no, sorry, the official day. No, sorry, I lied again. 2 days after the update releases. During that time, I believe we might do a mix mash or a mismatch of two different streams that during those days, because during that week is also the open beta for Gears of War E-Day, and obviously we're gonna spend more time on that because that's obviously like one of the hyped games we've been, well, me and my friend Martin have been like overhyped for ever since. So we're gonna be on that. I don't know how, like it also depends on him. That's why I said it depends. We might do a mismatch. Because obviously he's gonna be very hyped for the game. So he'll want to probably be on for those 4 days that the open beta will be out. Um, but yeah, so during that time, I might do, at least for the first 2 days, we'll probably do, no, sorry. Okay, sorry, now I'm remembering a bunch of shit. Um, it's just coming up like right now. So August 11th for sure, we'll probably do a stream for that. Like for probably like maybe like 3 to 4 hours, depending on how it goes, because it is gonna be a work day, or it is gonna be a weekday, and leading to another weekday. So we'll be working during that time. Um, and then the day after, August 12th, we might stream it maybe like less than, well, we probably might stream it. We probably might not, because I do have plans. I have different plans for that day, which I cannot ignore. So, I mean, I think I am going to accept that regardless. If I do have time, I'll probably will do a stream for it. Just for like maybe a small thing. I don't know what we'll do for that. And then the 13th through the 17th will be either a mishmash Year's E Day and Genshin Impact, or it'll just be E Day, and then I just work on Genshin Impact off screen. Not doing like any progression, obviously, right? And then September 4, I want to say. September 4. Is it September 4? September 4 through 7. I will not be able to stream anything because I am going on a trip during those days, so nothing will be happening. Which is why I said I might be able to do something that day. I don't know, it depends. Like, we'll probably stream for, and the only reason I say that is because during that week will be the side event story. So hopefully we'll have that done by then. If not, then we might miss a day. But like I said, it should be fine because it leads up to like the 14th, so we should be okay. But other than that, I think I might be able to work something out during the time the update is out. Like I said, the only reason why it's kind of iffy between the beginning of the update release is probably just gonna be because of like, it's around the same time E-Day open beta is out, and I want to be like, obviously, right? I just want to spend more time on that because it's obviously years. So there's that. And then yeah, that's pretty much it. Actually, I was gonna say, no, actually, well, I think we're good. I'll probably explain it like a little bit. We'll probably explain it tomorrow, because tomorrow, honestly, if I remember correctly, tomorrow, oops, we'll do that real quick. Tomorrow is actually the new season for Imaginary Theater, so we'll see each other again tomorrow for that. I'll probably talk about a little bit more of what's going on during the month of August as well, while we're there. But yeah, that's pretty much it for everything I wanted to talk about. Obviously, the main focus was the presentation itself and how I felt about it, my first impressions, final thoughts, and then still gonna see if I can work out something for scheduling of the streams here on out for August, when it comes to the update. But yeah, with that, I want to say thank you guys so much for watching. I know it's been like what, almost 3 hours at this point, like 2.5 hours basically, of me babbling and saying shit, or saying like a bunch of stuff about the presentation. I feel like this was double the length, if not like 2.5 times the length of the actual presentation itself. Again, I really do wish I can just, pull up a video or pull up the video and watch and just like have my reaction there. It's a lot easier to do, and it's basically the same duration as like the presentation, but it's one of those things that I'm just restricted on. I don't have like the I was gonna say technology. I don't have like the equipment for that, unfortunately, so I cannot do more than what I can. I'm barely only scraping by through the Xbox console itself, which I'm very grateful for, even in the first place, for being able to do this, at least. So yeah, but yeah, hope you guys enjoyed me again rambling. I wouldn't be surprised if anyone even watched this at this point. You'd rather just go watch the presentation itself and get like a full experience. But yeah, I guess at that, I'll see you guys tomorrow for or I guess next time, I guess, if anything, if tomorrow doesn't happen. I'll see you guys next time for the Imaginarium Theater. I have no idea what they're gonna do. Honestly, if anything, I feel like they're gonna do the same elements again. I think it's what is it? Last time it was, or at least this soon to be done season was, yeah, it was Cryo, Electro, and Pyro. So, I wouldn't be surprised if 2 of the elements stayed and the last one's replaced is Anemo, because obviously, right, they want to try to use Stellar Swirl for the update. So, again, like I said, I wouldn't be surprised. But yeah, alright, I fucking rambling on like it's nothing. Alright, I'll let you guys go from here. So, yeah. With that being said and done, thank you all so much for watching. This is Kyria signing out. Hope you guys take care of yourselves, and as always, hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day / evening, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Okay, I'm very tired, so I'm gonna fucking turn this off. Bye everyone.